iOS 26.5 just dropped, and if you're sitting there wondering whether you should actually install it, you're not alone. Because this update has a few things worth knowing before you hit that update button. There are real improvements in this release. But there are also some bugs that are still hanging around, and depending on which iPhone you have, your experience could be very different from someone else's. So before you update, let me give you the honest picture. Let's start with what Apple actually changed, because there are a few things here that are genuinely worth the update on their own. The biggest one is RCS end-to-end encryption. If you text Android users, your messages were not encrypted before this update. Anyone in the middle, your carrier, third parties, could potentially read them. With iOS 26.5, that changes. Your messages to Android users are now encrypted by default, the same way iMessage has always worked. This is one of the most meaningful privacy improvements Apple has made to messaging in years, and it's getting almost no attention. Apple is also introducing a new subscription billing option through the App Store. If an app offers an annual plan, you can now pay for it in monthly installments instead of one large upfront payment. So if something costs $120 a year, you can pay $10 a month instead. Small change, but useful. There are also 11 new Pride Luminance wallpapers, a new option in the Move to Android tool that lets you choose how much of your message history you want to transfer, and over 50 security patches, including fixes for WebKit vulnerabilities that could have allowed malicious websites to crash your browser. Now let's talk about what Apple hasn't fixed yet, because this is where it gets honest. The wallpaper desaturation bug is still present. On certain wallpapers, when you swipe up from the lock screen, colors visibly wash out for a split second. It's been there since iOS 26 launched, and it's still not fixed. Some users are also reporting a brightness bug, where the display randomly jumps to full brightness and then drops back down without any input. This seems to happen more on iPhone 15 series devices specifically. App freezing is another issue that hasn't fully gone away. Third-party apps occasionally lock up and require a force close to get working again. Most people say it resolves itself after a few days as the system finishes background processing. But it's worth knowing up front. The widget respring bug is also still there. If you have certain smaller-sized widgets on your home screen and tap into one, it can cause the home screen to briefly restart. Not a major issue, but annoying if you hit it repeatedly. Here's the part that actually matters, because iOS 26.5 does not feel the same on every iPhone. If you have an iPhone 11, 12, or 13, the news is actually good. Most users on older devices report smoother performance and better battery life compared to iOS 26.4. This is one of the better updates for older hardware in recent memory. If you have an iPhone 14, it's stable. Battery life might take a couple of days to settle, but most people report a positive experience overall. If you have an iPhone 15, this is where it gets complicated. Battery life issues and brightness bugs are showing up disproportionately on the 15 series compared to other devices. Apple hasn't explained why. If you're on an iPhone 15, it might be worth waiting a few days to see if a 26.5.1 patch addresses these issues first. If you have an iPhone 16 or 17, you're in good shape. Performance is smooth. Battery life is reported as equal to or better than iOS 26.4.2. And most people say it's the best version of iOS 26 so far. So should you update? If you care about security, yes, update now. The 50+ security patches in this release include real vulnerabilities, not just minor tweaks. Staying on an older version leaves those open. If you have an iPhone 15 and battery life matters to you, wait a few days. Watch to see if Apple pushes a 26.5.1 before committing. If you have any other supported iPhone, go ahead. iOS 26.5 is the most stable version of iOS 26 to date. It's not perfect, but it's meaningfully better than what came before it. iOS 27 is coming in the fall and will be shown for the first time at WWDC on June 8th. Between now and then, iOS 26.5 is the best Apple has to offer. So that's the honest picture of iOS 26.5. Real improvements, a few lingering bugs, and an experience that varies depending on which iPhone you have. If security matters to you, don't wait. If you're on an iPhone 15 and worried about battery, give it a few days. I'll be covering WWDC and iOS 27 when it drops on June 8th, so make sure you're subscribed for that. See you in the next one.